How many of you have ever felt stuck? You know what you need to do, but you just can't get yourself to do it. Let me tell you something. Laziness is not who you are, it's just a pattern. And patterns can be broken. The difference between success and failure isn't talent, luck, or intelligence. It's your ability to take action when you don't feel like it. Today, I'm going to give you 6 powerful strategies to rewire your mind, break through procrastination, and create unstoppable momentum. Are you ready to take control of your life? Then let's go. Laziness is not who you are. It's simply a habit you've developed over time. Too often, people label themselves as lazy, unmotivated, or procrastinators, as if these are fixed traits. But the truth is, no one is born lazy. Laziness is just a pattern of behavior reinforced by repetition. The more you delay action, the more your brain gets used to avoiding effort, and before you know it, inaction becomes your default response. But here's the empowering part. If laziness is something you've learned, it's also something you can unlearn. Your brain is designed to follow patterns, and every action or inaction strengthens a neural pathway. If you constantly tell yourself, I'll do it later, I'm too tired, or it's not the right time, your brain learns that avoidance is the norm. Every time you choose comfort over progress, you reinforce the habit of laziness. But just as bad habits are built through repetition, so are good habits. You can train yourself to take action automatically, just like you've trained yourself to avoid it. The key is to shift your mindset and recognize that you have the power to change. One of the biggest mistakes people make is identifying with their laziness. When you say, I'm just a lazy person, you're reinforcing that identity, and your actions will always align with how you see yourself. But the reality is, you are not lazy. You are simply someone who has developed a habit of delaying action. And the moment you shift that belief, everything changes. Start telling yourself, I am someone who takes action. I follow through on my commitments. I get things done, no matter how I feel. These affirmations might feel unnatural at first, but the more you repeat them, the more your brain starts to accept them as truth. And when you truly believe in your ability to take action, your behavior will naturally follow. The key to breaking the laziness cycle is to stop waiting for motivation. Most people believe that they need to feel inspired before they can take action, but that's completely backward. Action creates motivation, not the other way around. If you sit around waiting for the perfect moment, you'll stay stuck forever. The trick is to move before your brain has time to talk you out of it. The moment you feel resistance, count down from 5 and just start. Whether it's getting out of bed, making that phone call, or starting your workout, don't think, just move. Once you take that first step, momentum kicks in, and suddenly the task doesn't seem so difficult anymore. Another important thing to understand is that laziness is often a defense mechanism. Your brain tries to protect you from discomfort, uncertainty, or failure by convincing you to stay in your comfort zone. But growth never happens in comfort. Every successful person you admire has mastered the art of pushing through resistance and taking action even when they don't feel like it. They understand that the discomfort of effort is temporary, but the pain of regret lasts forever. So the next time you feel tempted to procrastinate, ask yourself, will I regret not doing this? If the answer is yes, then remind yourself that the short-term discomfort of taking action is nothing compared to the long-term disappointment of staying stuck. Another factor that contributes to laziness is energy management. Many times, what feels like laziness is actually exhaustion. If you're constantly tired, sluggish, or unmotivated, the problem might not be your mindset, it might be your body. Poor nutrition, lack of exercise, and sleep deprivation all contribute to low energy levels, making it harder to take action. You wouldn't expect a car to run on an empty tank, so why expect your body to function at full capacity when it's running on poor fuel? If you want to beat laziness, start by optimizing your physical energy. Move your body daily, eat foods that nourish you, stay hydrated, and prioritize sleep. When your body is energized, your mind will be sharper and taking action will feel natural. And it's also crucial to recognize the role your environment plays in your behavior. If you're surrounded by distractions, clutter, or unmotivated people, it's much harder to stay productive. Your surroundings shape your actions, whether you realize it or not. If your workspace is messy, your mind will feel cluttered. If your phone is always within reach, distractions will constantly pull you away from important tasks. And if the people around you encourage laziness or negativity, it will rub off on you. The solution? Take control of your environment. Organize your space, eliminate distractions, and surround yourself with people who inspire and push you to be better. When your environment is set up for success, it becomes much easier to take action consistently. Finally, overcoming laziness requires a shift in how you perceive effort. Many people associate hard work with pain, stress, or struggle. But what if you started seeing it as a privilege? What if you looked at taking action as an opportunity to grow, improve, and create the life you want? Instead of dreading effort, embrace it. Remind yourself that every action you take moves you closer to your goals, and every time you push through resistance, you become stronger. The bottom line is this: laziness is not a fixed trait, it's a habit, a pattern that you have the power to break. The moment you stop identifying as lazy, stop waiting for motivation, take control of your environment, and fuel your body with energy, everything changes. The choice is yours. Are you going to stay stuck in the habit of inaction, or are you going to take control and become the person you were meant to be? The answer starts with one decision: take action now. Massive change doesn't happen overnight. It starts with small, consistent actions that build momentum over time. The problem most people face isn't a lack of motivation. It's the overwhelming nature of big goals. When you look at a massive project, an intense workout routine, or a long-term goal, your brain immediately perceives it as too much work, too much time, or too difficult to accomplish. This feeling of overwhelm leads to procrastination, and procrastination becomes a habit. But the key to overcoming this mental block is to break things down into small, manageable steps that are so easy that they feel impossible to resist. Think about it. When was the last time you set a big goal and felt excited in the beginning, only to lose momentum a few days or weeks later? This happens because big goals, while inspiring, can also create a sense of pressure. When you feel like you have too much to do, your brain searches for ways to escape the stress, which is why you end up scrolling through social media, watching TV, or doing anything other than the thing you know you should be doing. The key to avoiding this trap is to focus on small wins rather than massive leaps. Instead of saying, "I need to write a book," tell yourself, "I'll write one sentence." Instead of saying, "I need to work out for an hour," commit to one push-up. This might sound too simple to work, but that's exactly why it's effective. When a task feels easy, your brain has no reason to resist it. And once you start, something powerful happens. You gain momentum. That one sentence turns into a paragraph, that push-up turns into 10, and before you know it, you've built a habit of consistent action. Momentum is one of the most powerful forces in human behavior. When you take even the smallest action, your brain releases a hit of dopamine, a neurotransmitter that creates a sense of satisfaction and encourages you to keep going. This is why checking off items on a to-do list feels so good. It creates a positive feedback loop that makes you want to take more action. On the other hand, when you avoid a task, you train your brain to associate it with stress, which makes it even harder to start the next time. This is why successful people don't rely on motivation, they rely on systems. They create habits and routines that make action automatic. They understand that motivation comes and goes, but momentum, once built, keeps them moving forward. If you want to break free from laziness, you need to stop waiting for motivation and start focusing on creating small, consistent wins. One of the best ways to do this is to use the 2-minute rule. If a task takes less than 2 minutes, do it immediately. If it takes longer, break it down into something that can be started in 2 minutes. For example, if you want to develop a reading habit, don't set a goal of reading for an hour every day. Start by reading 1 page. If you want to start meditating, don't commit to 20 minutes. Start with 1 deep breath. The goal is to remove the resistance to starting, because once you start, finishing becomes much easier. Another critical factor in building momentum is tracking your progress. People often underestimate the power of visual feedback, but seeing tangible evidence of your progress reinforces your commitment. Whether it's crossing off tasks on a list, marking an X on a calendar for every day you complete a habit, or writing down small wins in a journal, tracking progress keeps you engaged. It creates a sense of accountability and prevents you from breaking the chain of consistent action. And a common mistake people make is thinking that small actions don't matter. They believe that if they're not making massive progress immediately, it's not worth doing. But success isn't about doing one big thing all at once. It's about doing small things consistently over time. Imagine a plane flying from New York to Los Angeles. If the pilot changes the flight path by just a couple of degrees, the plane will end up in an entirely different destination. The same applies to your actions. The small choices you make every day determine where you end up in the long run. This is why building momentum matters. It's not about doing something huge, it's about starting, no matter how small. Because once you start, you create energy, and that energy fuels more action. The hardest part of any task is the beginning, but once you push past that initial resistance, things get easier. Your brain shifts from this is hard to this is what I do. So if you want to break free from laziness and build momentum, stop focusing on the finish line and start focusing on the first step. Make it so easy that it's impossible to say no. Then do it again the next day and the next. Before you know it, you'll have built a habit of consistent action, and laziness will be a thing of the past. The environment you surround yourself with plays a massive role in shaping your actions, behaviors, and level of productivity. Many people believe that overcoming laziness is purely a matter of willpower, but in reality, willpower is unreliable. It fluctuates based on your energy levels, stress, emotions, and even the time of day. If you rely solely on willpower to push yourself into action, you will eventually fail. This is why your environment matters more than your motivation. Because your surroundings either make taking action easy or create constant friction that pulls you into laziness. Your brain is constantly picking up cues from the world around you, even if you don't realize it. Everything in your environment sends signals that either trigger productivity or encourage procrastination. If your workspace is messy and disorganized, your mind will reflect that chaos, making it harder to focus. If your phone is always within reach, buzzing with notifications, your attention will constantly be hijacked. If you surround yourself with people who lack ambition and constantly talk about how difficult everything is, their energy will inevitably influence you. Without even thinking about it, you begin absorbing these signals, and they start dictating your behavior. To break free from laziness, you need to optimize your environment for success. One of the simplest yet most effective strategies is to remove obstacles that make action difficult and place triggers that make it easy. If you want to work out in the morning, lay out your gym clothes the night before and put them where you can see them the moment you wake up. If you want to read more, leave a book on your desk or bedside table instead of your phone. If you're trying to eat healthier, place nutritious foods in the front of your fridge where they're the first thing you see. These small environmental changes may seem insignificant, but they have a profound impact on your ability to take action without needing to consciously force yourself. Another important aspect of your environment is the people you surround yourself with. Whether you realize it or not, the attitudes, habits, and energy of those around you shape your own behaviors. If you're constantly around people who are unmotivated, complain about life, and make excuses, you will naturally start adopting the same mindset. On the other hand, if you surround yourself with people who are driven, disciplined, and constantly working towards something meaningful, you will begin to mirror their behaviors. Your standards will rise to match the level of those you spend the most time with. If you want to break free from laziness, take a hard look at your social environment. Ask yourself, are the people around me inspiring me to grow or dragging me down? If the answer leans toward the latter, it's time to make adjustments. This doesn't mean you need to completely cut people out of your life, but it does mean you should actively seek out and spend more time with people who challenge and push you to be better. Join communities of like-minded individuals, find a mentor, or connect with people who have already achieved what you aspire to do. The more you surround yourself with people who embody the habits you want to develop, the more natural those habits will become for you. Your digital environment is just as important as your physical one. In today's world, distractions are everywhere. Social media, endless notifications, and digital entertainment are designed to capture and hold your attention, pulling you away from productive activities. If you constantly find yourself falling into the trap of mindless scrolling, the problem isn't just self-control. It's that your environment is designed to encourage distraction. The solution? Make distractions less accessible and productivity more effortless. Put your phone in another room while working. Use website blockers to limit social media use, and create a designated space where only work or deep focus activities happen. When you control your digital environment, you reclaim your ability to focus and take action. Another powerful strategy to reshape your environment is to establish routines and rituals that eliminate decision fatigue. Many people struggle with laziness because they spend too much time debating whether or not they should do something. Every time you ask yourself, should I work out today? Or should I start this project now or later? You are draining mental energy, making it more likely that you'll put things off. Instead of leaving things to chance, make key actions non-negotiable by embedding them into your daily routine. Set a specific time for your workouts, dedicate a certain hour of the day for focused work, and create evening rituals that prepare you for success the next day. When you eliminate the need to decide, taking action becomes automatic. Lastly, it's important to remember that your environment isn't just about physical spaces or external influences. It also includes your internal environment, meaning your thoughts and mindset. The way you talk to yourself matters. If your self directly is filled with excuses, negative beliefs, or self-doubt, you will continue to reinforce laziness. Instead, cultivate a mindset that supports action and progress. When you catch yourself making excuses, challenge them. When you start to hesitate, remind yourself that action creates motivation, not the other way around. Develop a habit of immediately shifting your focus from why I can't to how can I? By reshaping your environment, both externally and internally, you make action the default. You remove the need for willpower and motivation because your surroundings naturally guide you toward productive behaviors. When you intentionally design an environment that supports your goals, laziness no longer becomes an option. It becomes a thing of the past. The key to overcoming laziness isn't just about forcing yourself to take action in the short term. It's about building long-term discipline. Many people struggle with laziness because they rely too much on motivation, expecting to feel energized and inspired before they start working on their goals. But motivation is unreliable. It comes and goes based on your mood, circumstances, and emotions. If you depend on motivation, you'll only take action when you feel like it, which means you'll stay stuck in cycles of inconsistency. The solution? Stop chasing motivation and start developing discipline, the ability to take action regardless of how you feel. Discipline is a muscle. Just like a physical muscle, it grows stronger the more you use it. The mistake most people make is assuming that some people are naturally disciplined while others are not. In reality, discipline is built through consistent repetition by training your brain to act even when it doesn't feel like it. Think about brushing your teeth. You don't debate whether or not you should do it every day, you just do it because it's a habit. The same principle applies to any productive action you want to take. The more you train yourself to act despite discomfort, the easier it becomes to follow through, and over time, laziness fades away. One of the most effective ways to build discipline is through micro-commitments. People often fail at staying consistent because they set goals that are too ambitious too soon. They try to change everything overnight, and when they inevitably hit resistance, they quit. The key is to start small and build gradually. If you want to wake up earlier, don't force yourself to suddenly wake up 2 hours earlier. Start by waking up 10 minutes earlier each day. If you want to develop a workout routine, don't commit to an hour of intense exercise right away. Start with 5-10 minutes. These small, manageable steps train your brain to associate action with success rather than struggle, making it easier to stay consistent over time. Another crucial aspect of discipline is learning to control your emotions and impulses. Many people struggle with laziness because they allow their feelings to dictate their actions. If they don't feel like working, they procrastinate. If they feel tired, they skip their workout. If they feel overwhelmed, they avoid starting a task. But the truth is, your emotions should not control your actions. You must learn to act despite them. The most disciplined individuals don't always feel motivated, energetic, or ready to take action. They just do it anyway. They understand that action leads to momentum, and momentum leads to results. One of the biggest traps people fall into is overthinking. When you spend too much time debating whether or not you should do something, your brain finds excuses and convinces you to delay action. The solution is to shut down overthinking and act quickly. A powerful method for this is the 5-second rule. The moment you feel resistance, count down from 5 and immediately take action. Don't give your brain time to negotiate with itself. Whether it's getting out of bed, starting a workout, or tackling a difficult task, move before hesitation takes over. This simple strategy trains your brain to default to action rather than delay, making discipline an automatic habit over time. Another key element in developing discipline is creating accountability. When you have no accountability, it's easy to make excuses and avoid taking action. But when you set up systems that hold you accountable, you're far more likely to follow through. One way to do this is by tracking your progress. Whether it's keeping a habit tracker, using a calendar to mark completed tasks, or writing down daily wins. Seeing visible proof of your consistency creates a psychological drive to keep going. Another way is to commit to someone else. Whether it's a mentor, a coach, or a friend, when you know someone is expecting you to follow through, you're far less likely to give in to laziness. Discipline is also about having a strong reason behind your actions. People who struggle with laziness often lack a clear, compelling reason for why they need to take action. If you don't have a strong why, it's easy to justify procrastination. This is why you must connect your actions to a bigger purpose. Ask yourself, why is this important to me? What will my life look like if I stay consistent? What will it look like if I don't? When your reason is powerful enough, discipline becomes easier because you're no longer just doing tasks, you're building a future that excites you. Finally, the most disciplined individuals understand that failure is part of the process, but they don't let it stop them. Many people struggle with laziness because they set unrealistic expectations. They believe they must be perfect, and the moment they slip up, they give up entirely. But discipline is not about perfection, it's about persistence. You will have days when you feel unmotivated. You will experience setbacks. But what separates disciplined individuals from everyone else is that they get back on track immediately. They don't allow one bad day to turn into a bad week or one mistake to become an excuse to quit. At the core of overcoming laziness is the understanding that you are in control. You are not a victim of your habits, your emotions, or your past behaviors. You have the power to rewire your brain, to train yourself to take action, and to build the discipline necessary to achieve your goals. It won't happen overnight, but the more you show up, the easier it becomes. Laziness isn't a permanent condition, it's just a habit. And the moment you decide to take action, you begin rewriting the story of who you are.